Okay, so what makes the human machine more effective? These are the proven human improvement methods. Yeah, say that 20 times fast, right? So anyways, these are, well, I'm just going to go down them because they start to make a lot of sense, but we implement these in the system every chance we get because they make a big difference. So the first one's contrition, truth. When the truth is obvious and it's in front of you and you can't deny it and you don't want to deny it, when the atmosphere is one of, yeah, this is what happened, instead of I don't want to get caught or whatever it may be, most of the time the truth comes out with really good things that you're tracking. But the truth matters, and the idea that looking for the truth and saying what's true is valuable is very, very important. Oath taking. When people get up in front of other people and they say, I'm going to do something, it matters. And doing things that way makes a big difference. Okay? A bias for action. When, as an organization or as an individual, we've learned to value, I'm not just here to talk about it. Let's do something. You know, General Patton one time was in a dispute with Eisenhower and another general, and the other general's plan, Eisenhower was going to go forward with it, and Patton didn't like the plan at all, but he eventually comes to Eisenhower in the middle of the night and says, you know, an average plan today is better than the perfect plan next week. So but that bias for let's make a decision and go. Your decisions don't need to be perfect. You'll learn to avoid wrong ones more and more as time goes on, but action is almost always required. The public square. Getting together, even for short amounts of time, and doing things in front of other people, and then putting those results out there for the world to see, or the world, that little group of people usually, or a larger group of people. But doing things in the public square, you know, it's like the racks. I mean, that's the punishment side of it. You know, when somebody was publicly humiliated, and it's very effective, more effective on the recognition side, but still very, very effective on everything. Just when you do it in the public square, things happen. Tallying and tracking. Keeping track of things, and even there's some value in keeping track of them, you know, for the individual by hand. It matters, but that's not always, usually it's not reasonable anymore. We do things with so much with technology, but what gets tracked gets done usually, and what doesn't get tracked almost never gets done. Okay, so tracking and tallying, very important. Deciphering and understanding. That means you've heard of like the 5 whys or things along those lines. It means looking at something and not taking the first inclination that comes along and looking at it at more than one level of depth, because it's very important to figure out why things really happen. It's an understanding, it's a wisdom level to look, to really try and figure out what's going on. It's different than just making a quick judgment about why something happened, because why is incredibly important. Captaincy. There's I believe it is I believe its origination is in Mexico, but I'm not really sure. There's a great saying out there that the dog with 2 owners starves. Okay. It's a big deal to have one person. Now, that person can have lots of help, all right? But whether it's a task or a part of a division of a company, whatever, and everything in between, captaincy matters. You're in charge. If it doesn't work, you're the one we're going to talk to. If it does, you're the one we're going to pat on the back along with everybody else, okay? But captaincy makes a huge difference. And then there's this thing called barn raising. Barn raising is when we have to get a lot done in a very short amount of time. If you've never seen it done, it's absolutely amazing. Where a group of, it was done all the time in previous times. Now, You see Amish or other people who for some reason or another have chosen to live without a lot of the amenities that we have, and they get together in this huge group of people and they build a barn in a day. Now, there's a few parts to that. It's not just, hey, let's get a whole bunch of people together and do something. It doesn't work that way. They come together and they all know their part when they get there. They know what they're going to do and they know how things, because they've gone before and watched others do it before them, and then they've gradually learned to take part. But this idea that if we get together and we have one thing we're going to do and we're going to do it now and we focus on it, that we can accomplish amazing things. That's barn raising. That's really important and it works. Okay, so those are the functional methods. Now there's a few other things that, these are what form good groups of people, good teams, that type of thing. And they're maybe a good person, but they're very formational is what we, and the first one is camaraderie or teamwork. The studies on what a team can accomplish is phenomenal. Google spent a lot of time with it, and of course other companies have too, but it's amazing. And like I said earlier, a team is different than a group of people. Teams that are true teams, a group of people working together for a common cause to make progress on something that matters through the control they have because they believe in a purpose, that's very, very, very powerful. Embracing a code. You know, when people come to a team and they say, this is what we are, this is who we are, it's what we're about, and they embrace that code. You know, the Marines, you know, not leaving anybody behind, all these types of things. Embracing a code is really, really important. And it has amazing results. Swift judgment. You know, there's a great book out there called Extreme Ownership. And I think it's Jocko Willink. It's co-authored. But he says in there, you're not measured by the bar isn't set by what you say, and it isn't set by your rules and regulations. It's set by what you tolerate. Okay? And justice delayed is justice denied. And I know that's an old saying, but it's true. If this is the code, and I'm not saying that there's not a gray line, okay? There's some give and take. But what we can't have is just this long period of nothing. And, you know, I can be so guilty of that. It's something that has to be watched. And I'm likely not to change that super rapidly. So I hope and I plan and I have some people around me that will tell me. And that's really, really important. And I count on them. And then when it's pointed out to me, do something about it. But swift justice matters. And the last one is wisdom. Wisdom isn't smarts, and it's not intelligence. Okay? Wisdom is being able to see further in the clouds and relate your past experiences to something up ahead and making a good decision with limited information. We have to do that. We can't wait till it requires some basic understanding about how important human beings are. And this doesn't come, you don't get wisdom overnight. You can gain a lot of wisdom from listening to other people if you truly listen. And then there's a whole lot of things you just have to experience, all right? But wisdom is so formational that you need to, especially, you know, if you surround yourself with wise people, it matters. So those are the things that make a human machine and human beings individually work better. And you will see them everywhere in how we do things. And sometimes they're very small things, but they matter.